Hey, Lise Pickett with the Urban Harvest, and today I thought I would share how I filled my raised beds for the new garden. I went ahead and got some galvanized beds. Typically, I'm a cedar or cypress wood frame raised bed girl, but the deal was just too good to pass up. They were over half off, and I couldn't make the wood beds for the cost of these galvanized. So I decided to go ahead and go for it. The beds are 3 by 7 by 18 inches tall. So nice deep beds, which is great. 8 to 12 inches is your bare minimum on beds. These are 18 inches, which gives it a nice, good soil depth. But to fill them, you would need about 1.2 cubic yards of soil, which is a sizable amount of soil, especially if you're buying bulk soil or if you're trying to use your own compost that you've made. So I'm going to show you today how I filled these beds for just $12 a piece. I'm building out a huge front yard garden with close to 400 square feet of growing space in just beds alone, not counting any of the in-ground planters. So I've got to make every dollar count. When I decided to fill these beds, I went ahead, since they are 18 inches deep, and I filled the bottom couple inches, 4 to 6 inches, I wasn't exactly precise, with mulch. And I did that because it will allow the bed and the plants that I put in it immediately, I'll have compost up here, to really get going while the mulch decomposes into quality soil, so that eventually this bottom layer will be high quality soil for the plants to root into as well. I got all of my mulch for free. That includes all of the mulch that I used for sheet mulching to reduce my weeding, as well as the mulch that goes into the beds. I used a site that's called Chip Drop, and it is for larger scale projects. When you sign up for a chip drop, basically a local landscaper or tree trimming company will deliver an entire load of chipped mulch for you. So super convenient. You don't have to have a car, you don't have to pay anything. They would be paying to dispose of it at the dump, so they would much rather bring it to your home or site, garden site, whatever it may be. So it's a benefit for them, and it's definitely a benefit for you. My one word of caution is that it is a large dump in most cases. So you do have to be working on a larger scale project, not just 4 inches to fill one bed type of thing. If that's the case and you're local to our area in St. Pete where I am, I know a lot of other cities do it as well. Check your yard waste collection facilities, and oftentimes they give away chipped mulch for free as well. The next step, which was also free, was my compost. That is the meat and potatoes of my garden bed. This is where all of the nutrients are coming from for my garden, as well as that nice humusy, rich, loamy soil that vegetable gardens absolutely go nuts for. If you don't make your own compost, especially on a larger scale, it can be quite time consuming, and a lot of times people don't necessarily have the time or patience to wait that long. So if that's the case, this is where your bulk soil purchase would come in. If you are doing bulk soil, of course you will have to pay for that soil, and you will have to pay for the amendments. But since I knew ahead of time that I was going to be doing this front yard garden, I went ahead and made a gigantic compost pile. I started with about 9 yards worth of materials and ended up with about 3 yards worth of finished compost at the end of it, and that is what I am using for my raised beds. The most amazing thing about compost, not only is it super nutrient dense, way more than you could ever get out of bulk soil with amendments, but it's also free. All of the materials that I sourced from the community, the mulch, the beer mash, the coffee grains, the veggie scraps, all of it is free. I used about 0.7 cubic yards of quality compost in each bed. I did not sift my compost. I find that having little pieces of mulch and stuff still in there helps with the soil not getting too compacted, and it adds bulk to my soil as fill, and that will continue to decompose and break down in the beds, which is not an issue whatsoever. But it's about 0.7 cubic yards for my 3x7 beds that I used of finished compost. Last addition to my garden beds, and the only thing that cost me money, was some coconut coir. Now I did this because I didn't have enough compost to go around. I would have only filled 3 or 4 of my beds instead of 5 beds. So I decided to add a little bulk to the soil using coconut coir. It's great for water retention. It's just pretty nutrient poor. So I use it kind of as a filler. My compost is what's providing the nutrients for the plants. This is just adding a little bit of heft to the soil as well as water retention. Now this one brick, it'll grow to about 4 times this size. It's sustainably sourced and it's super easy to use. So you just go ahead and open your package, put it in a huge bucket or a wheelbarrow or anything of that nature, and add, I don't know, 5 to 10 gallons worth of water, and it will just soak it up like a sponge. At that point, it's just super easy to break apart and add into your garden bed. So the brick is completely expanded. I went ahead and added it to the bed. It only goes down, I don't know, maybe an inch or 2, but it's just enough to help bulk up the soil a bit and add a little bit of water retaining quality to it, since I did use a unsifted compost. What I don't want to do is plant all of my seeds directly into the coconut coir, because like I said, it is pretty nutrient poor. So instead of just leaving it on top like this, I'm going to go ahead and mix it into the top couple inches of my compost underneath it, so that I have a blend of compost and coir. So there you have it, 3x7 by 18-inch raised bed garden filled for just $12. Pretty awesome stuff. If you have any questions about some of the processes I talked about in this video or the materials that I used, make sure to leave me a comment below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. And while you're down there, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little thumbs up next to it. And I look forward to growing with you.